On behalf of my clients, Procreation and Podcast Microphones, I will be filing restraining orders for you against Saxon. We are so back with the White Lotus Season 3 premiere. And once again, Western white people are running amok in these foreign countries. I said this before and I'll say it again. I will be recapping every episode of Season 3 of the White Lotus. So if that is of interest to you, definitely give me a like and follow. And let's go on this journey together. Would it be the White Lotus without someone being unalived and having to figure out who it is by the end of the season? The opening season starts off with the introduction of the character Zion, where he is later revealed to be the son of Belinda. From there, we hear multiple shots being fired, and Zion at least is safe from being unalived because he then sees the unalived body in the water. And of course, we don't know who it is yet, and then the scene then cuts to a week earlier. We get the infamous welcome wave from the White Lotus workers. All of them seem to be paired off with the specific groups and storylines that we're going to get this season. We'll start off with our recurring character, Belinda, who, from as far as we know, is still working in the White Lotus in Hawaii. She does a work exchange program, which is why she is here at the White Lotus in Thailand. She's going to learn from the other health and wellness workers in Thailand how to improve her own skill set to take back to Hawaii. And she's also going to bring her son, Zion, on the trip later. To continue along the lines of the workers at the White Lotus, the second storyline that we see is between Mook, played by LaLisa, and the character Gaitok, played by this actor's name that I'm not even going to attempt to say because I'm going to butcher it. And he is a security guard for the White Lotus who, one, I think wants more out of his job. He wants to be more than just a security guard. And two, he's in love with Mook. Hands down, so obvious. We'll see where this relationship goes. And I also have predicted that something's going to happen between Belinda and this worker as well. His name being Pornchai. Again, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing these names right. I will work on that. Mook is also framed as the pretty nice girl who works there, which is why Gaitok probably is in love with her. So we'll see where her prettiness or how she is perceived by the guests and how that's going to play out. And also, given that Mook is paired off with Rick and Chelsea, the way that Chelsea constantly is telling Mook that she is so pretty, I don't know if it's in an infantilizing way. That's how I initially interpreted it, but who knows where that's going to go. I'll get to this dynamic in a bit. I want to talk about these three white women on this girls trip. Leslie Bibb plays Kate, who is this country club housewife from Texas. Michelle Monaghan plays Jacqueline, who is this famous TV actress. Carrie Coon plays Lori, who is a corporate lawyer and recent divorcee and mother. And based on what we have seen, Lori seems like the oddball out. Kate and Jacqueline appear to be incredibly successful and feel very satisfied with their lives. Both look really good for their age. They have a lot of money. They have a husband and a fiance. And the way they patronize and talk down to Lori, especially when it comes to, oh, you're a recent divorcee, so you should, like flirt and like hang out with other men on this trip. There also seems to be a lot of resentment coming from Lori as well, given how successful these two women's lives are. We'll see where this snowballs into. Behind the scenes interview, Parker Posey describes this family, the Ratelifs, as a bunch of monkeys. Just like monkeys, they are playful, reactive, and territorial. I think that monkey metaphor and symbolism is going to carry throughout this show as well, towing that line between being animalistic and civilized. Seems like your stereotypical rich white American family. Tim Ratliff, the patriarch of the family, is a financier from North Carolina, and he keeps getting calls from the Wall Street Journal investigating possible illegal activities between a former business partner and himself. I had this theory in an earlier video where I think he's going to try to stay here in Thailand to avoid being arrested in America. Parker Posey plays his wife Victoria, who for majority of this episode seemed very high under the influence of pills and other things, which is an interesting contrast given that they are part of a holistic health and wellness center. It's the Western medicine versus the Eastern medicine, and that East versus West is going to continue throughout the show too. So leads us into the three Ratliff kids. Let's start off with the middle child, Piper, who is studying religion at her college. And the reason why they are in Thailand in the first place is to visit this monk to get more research for her paper, her research project, whatever. The example of East versus West in this show is going to be also with religion. Given that Thailand is almost 90% Buddhist, there was even talks between Christianity versus Buddhism within this family alone. And given that Piper is supposedly a self-proclaimed Buddhist, see where that takes her. Lachlan is the shy youngest kid of the three, and he's a high school senior who just got into Tar Heel and Duke. Tar Heel is where Piper currently is attending, and the mom is also an alum from there. And Duke is where Saxton and their father, Tim, went. Trying to figure out which college to go to, and I bet money that by the end of this season, he's not going to go to either. He's going to reveal to the family that he also applied for a whole different third choice college, and I think he might go to that instead. Or not. Who knows? Finally, cringe and red flag personified Saxon, the oldest child. Patrick Schwarzenegger is definitely going to be typecasted even more after this. He is a Nepo baby, if I ever seen one. He has made some of the most uncomfortable sexist comments in this episode alone. What he talks about and to his siblings needs to be investigated. Because one, why are you calling your sister hot? And two, why are you just going to offer yourself to porn in the bathroom when your brother is trying to sleep in the bedroom? I mean, I'm sure that's not an uncommon thing, but it was still very weird. And we got our very first frontal exposure scene in this season. I'm going to root for Saxon's downfall this entire season. I also think it's interesting that we went so far right with Saxton, given what we've gotten in season 2 with Albie. I mean, both of them are kind of cut from the same cloth. They both are misogynistic, but to varying degrees. With Albie, he obviously was more performative with trying to be a feminist and an ally. But with Saxon, he doesn't even hide it. The scene's gonna forever scar me. Finally, we get Rick and Chelsea, who are your quintessential sugar daddy and sugar baby dynamic. Rick has a clear motive, but it's unclear to us what his motive is for wanting to be in Thailand. What we know is that he wants to meet with Jim Hollinger, one of the owners of the White Lotus in Thailand. Instead, we get to meet his lovely wife, Saritala, who's also not only a housewife, but she pioneered the infamous health program that the White Lotus in Thailand is known for. And we're going to see how effective this health and wellness program is, especially for our guests. Chelsea seems like she's just happy to be there, given that all this is all expenses paid. She gets occasionally annoyed with Rick's antics, as anyone would. But it's in the last few minutes of this episode where she gets to meet Chloe, who has similar circumstances to Chelsea, but she also is dating this very mysterious man. Who is this mysterious man, you say? Well, it's none other than John, Tanya's former husband. Not only is Greg Hunt officially the only actor to be in all 3 seasons of The White Lotus, but the fact that he has been hiding out this entire time in Thailand, no doubt Belinda is going to run into this man as well, who could blow his cover wide open. I also love that he is one of the many sad men in this resort who is a loser back home, an LBH. And there you have it. That is our cast of The White Lotus Season 3. We'll see what happens to our characters, and we'll see who gets unalived at the end.